lot of struggles with customer profitability. I'm going to talk to the graph here on the left to sort of make my point. And this is almost across all industries, definitely for banks. And so this green line represents cumulative profitability. This branch made $81,810 for the year, for the month, however you want to do it. And you'll notice it intersects at around 10, 12%. So my most profitable 10, 12% of the customers equals my complete branch profitability. Then the next 20 or so percent, 30% only provides incremental profitability. And then it trails off. The last 50% are actually costing the bank, the credit union, money. So the question is, do you throw them out? No, you try to figure out how to make them profitable. But the point is, you need to know who is the most profitable. You need to know who's costing you money, because your behavior and how you treat them, your marketing programs are going to be extremely important on how you deal with these folks. I mean, the folks that are losing you money, do you set up appointments and spend a lot of time servicing those accounts? No. You might send them an email campaign. Hey, here's something on home equity loans you might be interested in, but you want to transact with them as cheap as possible. If they're in the branch a lot, hey, you might educate them on online banking and cheaper ways to transact with the bank. So let's start off, first of all, with funds transfer pricing. I've seen a couple of folks say, yeah, we used to do it, was real hard, don't know why we would keep doing it, didn't see the value. And here's just sort of making fun of it. These are scores. My bank is called Chicago, and I've got my various instruments. The Bears are averaging 32 points, the White Sox are 4 point, and Cubbies are 5.1, the Bulls are 91. And my average yield is 134. That doesn't mean anything. How are the Bears doing against their competition? How's the White Sox doing against the competition? I need to know how the Bears are doing against relevant football teams that could care less what they're doing against the Sox and the Cubs and the Bulls. Funds transfer pricing is going to compare your loans, your deposits to investments that are very safe, and you're going to compare them to the investment. So for instance, a deposit comes into the bank, and in theory, I'm going to invest those deposit dollars in a very safe investment. All right, what's the yield on those investments? And likewise, if I decide to lend that money out, then what investment am I trading in to extend my yield to get a better yield on loans? So that's what funds transfer pricing is all about. Three real high-level approaches. I've seen some folks say, yeah, I can't track it by loan and deposit. That's real hard. That's fine. Then you just use Fed funds plus 150 basis points for both loans and deposit. A deposit comes into the bank. How does it compare to Fed funds plus 150 basis points? And then when I lend that money out, how does it compare to Fed funds plus 150 basis points? I've seen other folks and say, well, we've actually got investment pools. We've got 2-year money. We've got 3-year money. We've got some securities that are out 5 years. And I'm going to actually compare my loans and deposits with like maturities to the pools I have on hand. What I've seen a lot of folks do it is to match maturities against U.S. Treasuries. What they'll do is they'll look up the U.S. Treasury rate for that month for that security. So for instance, I got a 30-day CD that's paying out 1.25%, let's say. Well, the Fed funds rate is 2.5%. Obviously, these rates are a little old, but how do I compare to U.S. Treasuries? And they enter it in a rate table, and then just compare those CDs for 1 month to the rate there. If I did a 3-year car loan, I'm going to compare it to the average rate of 3.43 on my graph here. You also need to figure out, what does it cost to service the customer? What does it cost to originate a loan, cost to originate a deposit, how much maintenance costs? What you want to do is you want to come up with those various activities that are affecting the servicing of those individual instruments. You don't have to be exhaustive. Just come up with a handful of items that can be tracked via TRAN code, your loan activity tables or your deposit activity tables, and come up with those counters and apply the cost to come up with a total activity cost for each instrument. You need to be able to do that. Some folks do exhaustive time, studies on how long does it take a teller to take a payment for a commercial account versus a deposit for a consumer account. You can do that. But there's a lot of just standard costs out there. There's some consulting firms that help folks do that. We've got some basic costs we can apply. And all you want to do is just get it close. You want to be able to, you've got all these counters, you want to associate costs so I can come up with my servicing costs. So you've taken care of the net interest margin with funds transfer pricing, the servicing costs. Obviously, you should be able to track all this fees, service charge. And then when you add it up, here's an example on net profit by customer. How is this customer, Bob Thompson, doing for January? And so he's got 4 instruments with us: a commercial loan, a home equity loan, an installment loan, borrowing a lot of money from us. But good thing he's got a lot of money with us in CDs as well. And so we've got his balances, his rate, his transfer rate, the term, origination date, essentially the margin on those balances, the NIM for the month, $115. Then I've got my monthly costs. Some of them have teller items, some of them have online costs. And then the way this company, bank, approached the origination cost is more the FAS 91 approach. They want to defer it over the term of the loan, the term of the deposit. If you take those origination costs up front, the customer loses a bunch of money at day one, and then they're trying to dig themselves out of a hole the rest of the relationship. FAS 91 allows you to defer those costs over the life of the loan or deposit, just smooth things out a little bit. So here, this Bob Thompson, he's made $47 for the month. Hopefully $50 times 12 months, $600 relationship, pretty good relationship. So I need to, pay attention. So that's an example of customer profitability.